The left is constantly trying to induce the latest moral panic designed to give them more power. But the American public has had enough of that crap. And in fact, doesn't even fall for it anymore, really. And the reason, in no small part, that we can get over the left's nonsense so quickly is that there are more and more brave Americans who step forward and go, I've had enough. I'm going to tell people what's really going on. And among those people is my next guest. Bobby Burack joins us now. He's a columnist over at OutKick, and he noticed something very stupid, very depraved this week, and he exposed it instantly, and now the subject of Bobby's story is receiving all the mockery he intended for someone else. Bobby, good to have you with us, sir.
Hey, Vince, I appreciate it.
First of all, thank you for being a great American. Secondly, you wrote this week about, it starts with a young man at a Kansas City Chiefs game. He is seems like a pretty enthusiastic football fan. So enthusiastic, he's wearing a Chiefs jersey. It looks like an Indian chief headdress, and he painted his face black and red, as you might do if you were celebrating a sports team. Tell us what happened next.
So for those of your listeners who don't go to football games, I don't know how many do and how many don't, it's very common for fans to paint their face with double paint with the colors of the sports teams. You're in D.C., so if you go to a Commanders game, you paint your face maroon and yellow. If you go to a Cowboys game, you paint your face blue and silver.
Although,
right?
let me add one note, Bobby. At a lot of these Commanders games, usually it's the visiting team's face paint that is predominant in the stadium.
True. So if you go to a Commanders game, they're playing the Eagles, you wear silver and green. I get that. So yeah, on Sunday, a Chiefs fan, I don't know how old he is, 5, 6, 7 years old, was seen with black face paint on one side, red face paint on the other, and a headdress to honor the Kansas City Chiefs. Pretty standard among Chiefs fans. A lot of pictures online of fans doing just that. But Monday morning, a Deadspin writer named Carron Phillips, who I would say is like a dollar store Jamel Hill, he took a picture of that boy only showing the one side of his face, the black side, and accused him of wearing blackface and wrote an article saying the NFL needs to do something about this little boy because this little boy, and I quote, made it known that he hates both black people and Native Americans. So now we have Deadspin framing and smearing a 6-year-old boy maybe of wearing blackface and hating black people for wearing red and black face paint. And it's been over 24 hours. I've contacted the author and his editor, and Vince, they refuse not only to address their lie, but upload the full picture showing the boy not wearing blackface, but Chiefs face paint. How cruel is that?
Yeah, I mean, look, the NFL licenses the use of, license these photos and videos, the things that have shown us all of this. You know, the NFL should ban this guy Carron Phillips from their stadiums for trying to depict a fan who was there enthusiastically supporting his team as some sort of, racist. Do you think the NFL will do that?
No, I don't, and this is what bothers me the most. So, obviously, what Carron Phillips did to this boy is evil and cruel, and it really puts the boy in some sort of danger. His face is plastered all over the internet, telling readers he hates black people and Indians. But, see, in most cases, the NFL and athletes would speak up and stand up for this little boy, but because of so much sensitivity around race, they're not saying anything, and that's what bothers me the most, right? If he accused this boy of something else, the NFL would push back, and the members of the Chiefs would push back, like Mahomes and Kelsey, but nobody wants to do what I did, and that is defend the boy against accusations of racism.
Totally.
And that's why you see people in the media today coming after me saying that I hate Mexicans, that I hate black people because I stood up for this boy. And by the way, I don't know what Mexicans have to do with this story, but I was also accused of that.
These people are morons. That's one of the findings here. I will say that this is such a perfect opportunity for the NFL to stand up and gain an enthusiastic, either revived or new fan base. Just straight up say, you know what? we're banning this Carron Phillips from the NFL. He can't attend any games, not after what he tried to do to our fans. The kid, they paid for the ticket. They got him in the stadium. It looks like a good seat. He's sitting right up against the field, it looks like. And he's got, got his headdress on. He's got his war paint on. He's supporting the Chiefs. And not only should they ban Carron Phillips, but they should let the kid on the field, let him hang with the players, give him the VIP experience. This is how it would normally be done. Because how old is this kid? I'm looking at the photos of him. He looks like he's 10 years old. He's just there kind of supporting the game. Like, take care of him. The NFL, don't you think that people would reward the NFL if they stood up in this way?
Absolutely. But I don't believe they will. And what's really disheartening here is, look, I just mentioned all the people coming after me. That's fine. I can defend myself. The athletes that Carron Phillips often calls racist, they can defend themselves. But this little boy, he can't defend himself. He doesn't have a big platform. No one knows who his parents are. And that is the most wicked thing a journalist can do, that is attack people beneath them. That's why Clay Travis, who founded the website that I write for, he believes there's a case for the kid and his family. He talked about this today, to sue Deadspin for defamation, because he says that what's happening here is they intentionally misled their audience and harassed and defamed this little kid. And I spoke to a lawyer for my column today, and she said the same thing, that there's a strong case that Deadspin is liable for negligence, for lying and slandering this private citizen who happens to be under 10 years old. That's the only way that this boy can fight back, because nobody in the public other than a few media outlets have stood up for him.
I'm reminded of another story from just a couple weeks ago. We saw kind of the same thing take place over the course of like a day or two, where you had a middle school student who went to a football game and he was wearing eye black, but he was wearing it the way a lot of athletes do now, which is not only the eye black, not just under his eyes, but kind of stretched down to the bottom of his cheeks. He was being accused of wearing blackface, and he was suspended by his middle school for that, when, again, he was doing exactly what his favorite athletes all do, of every skin color.
Yeah, and this Carron Phillips, a year ago during a Little League World Series celebration, the kids, I don't know if they sprayed like whipped cream on the hairs of their players at a celebration. He used one photo and said the team was putting cotton on the black player as a sign of racism. That wasn't true. Every player on the team had the white fuzz on there. This was not a black kid wearing cotton and the team laughing at him. That was a lie. This guy, to me, what he says is so irresponsible. After George Floyd's death, he wrote an article saying that white people who watch professional sports are exercising white supremacy because their white brothers are on the streets killing black people, and they get to go watch black athletes. That's a real article he wrote.
Okay. Well, I'm really grateful to you for taking a dunce cap and putting it on his head and putting him in the corner this week.
What's that you cut out there?
Oh, you hear me now?
Yeah, your phone cut out.
Okay. I was just saying, we're with Bobby Burack of OutKick. I'm grateful that you put a dunce cap on Carron Phillips's head this week, because, boy, he deserves it. Now, I've noticed what he's doing now is he's blocking everyone on the internet for realizing that he's the ghoul in this story and not a 10-year-old boy.
Yeah, and he used the Mexican reference to other people. He said, if you disagree with him, you're the same type of person who hates Mexicans but wears a sombrero. Again, I don't know what that means, and I followed up and asked him, but he didn't answer. He is saying that everybody else is insane, not him, for really trying to ruin this little kid's life. I think it's one of the more despicable pieces I've seen Deadspin write. Now, look, this is the outlet that obsessed over Jason Whitlock for years, pretty much forced ESPN to get rid of him. They've been doing stuff like this for a long time. They're the ones that went after Sage Steele and said that she's actually a white woman masked as a black woman. But again, to my knowledge, they've never gone after a 10-year-old little boy before. So that just shows you how far they've fallen and where they didn't start at a very high point. It's
disgusting. All right, let's pull the lens back for a moment. What I'm noticing here is how quickly, because you jumped on this and said, this is garbage. What you're doing to this child is absolute trash. And you exposed this guy quickly. And thankfully, Bobby, you know, so many of us were made aware of this story, and instantly you can put this thing to bed. But it wasn't like this a couple years ago. I mean, it used to be that the half-life on these stories was a lot longer. You know, you look at a guy like what happened with Nick Sandmann, a guy who was at the who came to Washington, D.C., who was depicted as some sort of racist because some lunatic was banging a drum in his face and he didn't make any facial expressions. So he said the media depicted him as a racist in that scenario. It turns out, as you see more and more of the video footage, you're like, he's not racist at all. He's just a kid standing at the Lincoln Memorial with some lunatic in his face. Meanwhile, you know, the same kind of saga played out with Kyle Rittenhouse. We saw that. Like, there was no way it was self-defense. In the trial, there was a verdict. The jury came and said, yeah, it was 100% self-defense. And you see all these stories, it does feel like that the left's ability to conjure up these bogus race hoaxes, like, you know, like Jussie Smollett, it's going away really fast. I think people are sick of this, and they can sense a hoax coming a million miles away.
Yeah, and about a month ago, this website called Pink News, I guess they're like a LGBT website. I don't know what they are, but there was a bomb threat at a high school that thankfully wasn't real, and they wrote an article blaming me and Riley Gaines for the bomb threat, saying that we radicalized the person to want to bomb trans people. I mean, there was no evidence of that we were responsible for, but they wrote it anyway. So there's no accountability in the press unless you sue them and bring a lawsuit. That's why so many people, including Elon Musk, seem to be encouraging this family to take action against Deadspin, because if you don't, they'll continue to do this stuff.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. The left likes to wield the phrase. They say it's not cancel culture, it's consequence culture. Okay, fine. There are consequences to your actions. If you're ready for them, here they come. Here they come. So, you know, we'll see.
I mean, there's just so right, and there's just so many examples of this too. Like so many articles you read of people who are accused of racism and bigotry. There's really no evidence of it. You just saw it happen a couple of weeks ago. The libs of TikTok got blamed for somebody beating up a trans person. That is such reckless journalism, to attribute a crime to somebody else in media based on you not agreeing with their opinion. I mean, somebody obviously needs to step in. And look, Sandman did it. Kyle Rittenhouse, I believe, is still suing some of those outlets, and hopefully he wins, because Sandman did. I think it did send a message, but maybe not one quite loud enough.
Yeah. All right. Well, Bobby Burack, thank you for being on the side of decency always, and really appreciate your coverage of all of this. Thank you, Bobby. Good to talk to you today.